Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 26 of the Soul Forge podcast. What are we going to talk about today? Well, as I'm recording this, today is my son Bishop's birthday. He just turned 12. I just came back from his house. We did a little bit of an interview, so you're going to hear him and find out some of the things that make him tick. But before we get into that, just some business from last week. So last episode on minimalism, I did some feedback for episode 24, the talk with Bishop's mom. Longtime listener of the show, Richard, I read you his Facebook comment about the episode, and he actually commented on the minimalism episode as well, which is awesome. I'm not going to read it, it's long, and if you want to read it, you can just go to the Facebook group, facebook.com/soulforgepodcast, but he wrote a well thought out response. Basically, he just said that without knowing it, he was actually a minimalist all along. So I thought that was kind of cool. I guess if you don't hear other people talk about things, like I described minimalism, and maybe some of you had never heard of it before, just like he hadn't. And maybe some of you are minimalists and you just didn't know it. Or you know somebody who is and they don't really even know that they are or promote it or whatever. But this is a thing that people seem to be really getting into, and I'm definitely attempting it. And we're going to see where it goes. It's a long journey ahead, but I think it's worthwhile. Now, I did receive an email from a buddy of mine, my previous co-host on the short-lived podcast we did together, the Sci-Fi Waffle podcast, my good buddy Paul Wright, Furbob on Twitter. So I figured I'd just read you his email, and he says, Soul Forge mystery solved. Hi, Sean. I was listening to your last two Soul Forge podcasts in which you mentioned about decluttering. This is a great idea and something I do from time to time, but sadly I lapse into my old ways and start collecting again. This weekend I am hoping to declutter the garage once and for all. We'll see how long that lasts. Also, in the show you mentioned about cleaning out your old stuff from your parents and finding a black character dressed in orange but didn't know what it was. As your father was from a Dutch background, the figure sounds like Black Pete or Black Peter, who was the companion of St. Nicholas in the folklore of Dutch Low Countries. The character first appeared in an 1850 book by an Amsterdam schoolteacher, Jan Schenkman. Traditionally, Zwarte Piet is said to be black because he is a Moor from Spain. Those portraying Zwarte Piet typically put on black face makeup and colorful Renaissance attire in addition to curly wigs, red lipstick, and earrings. In recent years, the character has become the subject of controversy, especially in the Netherlands. Dutch people used to put Black Pete on Christmas trees, which is something my dad did when he was working for a Dutch company back in the 70s. We don't do it now, of course, but your description of the figure brought back memories. The episode of the Soul Forge with your ex, Trish, was great, and it is so cool that you two still get along after all you've been through. That will prove to be so important to Bishop, as he will look up to you to see how to treat women in the future. All men take their lead from their father when it comes to how they interact with other people, especially women. Listening to your experiences over the years made me think that Trish was correct in saying you were too inexperienced in life before meeting up with her. I think I was very much the same when I was younger, and it took me many years to mature properly, although my wife and kids will probably say I still have yet to do that. Anyway, I hope this email clears up the mystery of Black Pete, and keep up the good work of the Soul Forge. Furbob. So thanks for that email, Paul. It's always great to get some feedback and whatnot to read on episodes of the Soul Forge podcast, which is what you're listening to right now.
This is Kitty from Jump City Comics, and you're listening to the Soul Forge podcast. Forge your soul.
I'm not sure that the figures that I threw out were Black Pete. It was a set of, I think they were African figures, because I don't even know. I don't even think I have any pictures of them left, but maybe they were, maybe they're not. Doesn't matter. They're gone. Decluttering, getting rid of things that aren't important, just leaving room for the important things in your life. That's what minimalism is all about. But this episode is not about minimalism. This episode is basically an interview with my son. It's about 15 minutes long. Trying to get him to talk to his future self in a way. Because, you know, like I said in the interview, 20 years from now, he might want to look back at this interview and what was I like when I was a little kid, when I was 12, when I was almost a teenager, that kind of thing. So without further ado, here is the episode with my son Bishop on his 12th birthday. All right, so I'm sitting here with my son. What's your name, buddy?
My name is Bishop.
That's right. And how old are you?
Well, I'm turning 12 today.
You just turned 12 today.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that you turned 12 at 9:40 a.m.?
Mm.
That's the exact time you were born. 9:40 a.m. on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday.
December the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what year you were born?
2005.
You got it, son. 2005. So today was your birthday. It's not a Tuesday, it's a Wednesday. So it's not exactly the same time. And we're recording this about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
But
so
fine.
That's fine. It's still your birthday.
Still my birthday.
You're a dozen years old.
Doesn't.
How does that make you feel?
As old as a box of donuts.
Oh, I see what you did there. Because a box
Yeah.
of donuts has 12 donuts in it. Oh, you're pretty clever. You're known for your cleverness. And one of your favorite things is your pun jokes.
Yep.
Can you tell me one of your favorite pun jokes?
I don't really know.
Well, just name one of your pun jokes.
Can't really think of any right now.
You can't, because you always come out with them so fast.
Yeah, but that's usually when there's a situation for them.
Oh,
Like to happen.
so they're situational.
Yeah.
Ah, I see. Okay. All right. So have you been having a good day so far?
So far, yeah.
Yeah? Did you get anything cool for your birthday?
Well, not for my birthday yet, but yesterday you got me these little Minecraft figurines
That was for your birthday.
and Monopoly.
Yes.
Yeah, it's for my birthday, but it was the day before my birthday.
Well, that's right, because you came over to my house yesterday for
Yeah.
dinner. That's right. Okay. Let's see. So you had school today. Okay. And did they wish you a happy birthday on the announcements?
No, I think they forgot.
Did they do that for any kids?
Usually they do it,
Yeah.
but it's probably because I didn't tell anyone either.
So nobody at school today knew that it was your birthday,
A few people did.
and they wished you happy birthday.
Yeah.
Did they hit you on the butt and say, "Oh, this is your 12 beatings"? No. Do kids still do that to kids?
No,
No. Oh.
I don't think I've known anyone who's ever done that.
Really? Eh?
No.
Birthday slaps?
No.
No. All right. Maybe people just beating me up when I was a kid. I don't know. Yeah. So, are you feeling old, or does it not matter what's your birthday?
Well, I've only been 12 for a day, so I don't really feel that much older.
Okay. All right. And you're in grade 7.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your favorite class?
You know, I don't really have much of a favorite class, but if I had to pick one, it would probably be the health class, because health class is relatively easy, and it's got little, it's got this thing, it's in a place called The Hive, which is relatively new.
Okay.
They only got it like this year. It's pretty much just an extra room that, my gosh, it's a lot of fun because there's a lot of different seating chairs and stuff.
Oh.
So like there's swiveling stools, there's I forgot what they're called, but they're kind of like normal desks, except the desk part is smaller and you can turn it and it's rolling. I don't really know how else to describe it.
Okay. So
There's also they've also got beanbag chairs and
so it's pretty relaxed and comfortable.
yeah.
So do you like that class because it's in that room, or do you like the class because you like the class?
Both.
Okay. And what's your least favorite class?
Is it wrong for me to have at least two?
No, I'm guessing it's French and phys ed.
Yep, but there's also kind of a problem with drama.
What's wrong with drama?
It's got the same problem as art, where it only comes around once a week.
Oh, so you don't like it because you don't get enough of it?
Also because I don't really like it that much.
'Cause you
But
have to-
art is pretty good too, though.
In drama, you have to act.
Yeah.
Have you been in any plays?
No, they haven't done any yet.
Oh.
But the talent show is coming up.
Ooh, are you going to be in that?
No,
You don't have any talents, or you just don't want to do it?
I just don't really want to do it.
Do you feel like you have any talents?
Not really.
No? Can you sing?
No.
Okay. Can you draw?
Not very easily.
Okay. Can you juggle?
No, not really.
Can you snap your fingers?
Sometimes.
Well, there you go. Can you whistle?
Definitely not.
You can't whistle.
Not at all.
Oh. What do you feel like you're good at? Because right now you're 12, and this is going to be recorded and put on a podcast, and say in 20 years, when you're 32, you can look back at this and say, hey, you know what? When I was 12, this is what I thought. So let's think. What's your favorite color right now?
All of them, really.
Okay, but what's your favorite?
I've got 3.
Okay.
So it's turquoise, purple, and yellow.
Turquoise, purple, and yellow.
Yeah.
All right. And do you have a favorite number?
It's really any number in the 60s to 70s.
And why did you choose that?
Because I like the number 6.
Okay, so maybe 6 is your favorite number?
Yeah.
All right.
But it's better when it's accompanied by something. It's kind of like pancakes. They're good on their own, but with syrup, they're even better.
I see. And you're really big into food.
Yeah.
And you think you want to be a chef when you grow up?
Probably.
Yeah. Like right now at 12 years old, do you know what you want to be when you're older?
Not really, aside from a chef.
Okay. And you have this idea where you want to change people's light bulbs for a living? Why don't you tell your future self about that? What's your idea?
Not really much anymore, but I used to think that changing light bulbs was relatively easy because I'm so tall.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought maybe when I'm older I could I could work at a light bulb changing place, but I don't know if they really have those. So maybe I thought I could be like the person who runs one of those.
And do you have a name for your business?
Not really.
Bishop's Light Bulb Changing Emporium. How does that sound?
Meow.
Meow?
Meow.
Did you just meow?
Meow.
Are you a cat? Okay, all right. Okay, so here's something else we just did. Every year, on or around your birthday, whenever we remember,
Usually it's sometime around then.
we measure you on this board that I have.
Yeah.
What do you think about this board? It's in the other room.
Yeah.
But you remember the reason behind it?
I don't.
You don't. Okay. Well, when you go to somebody's house, you always see on the door jamb the kid has been marked how tall they are.
Oh yeah,
right?
sometimes I've seen that. I saw that at I forgot whose house it was, but I saw that at someone's house.
Okay, you see that at lots of people's houses.
Yeah.
And
Usually it's on like where there should be a door, but there's not,
right,
because it's kind of like,
an entranceway.
yeah, it's too thick to have a door,
Mm-hmm.
but it's too thin to be a hallway.
Right, exactly. Okay, so my idea when you were really little is that I wanted to measure you every year on your birthday.
But the walls, I guess, are too hard or something.
No, walls aren't too hard.
Oh.
I have a history of moving so many times. So I figured, you know what, I could measure you, but then I wouldn't be in that house anymore, and we wouldn't have an ongoing record. So what I did was I bought a 7-foot piece of, I think it's a 2x1, and every year on your birthday, I measure you. So that when you're older, I don't know, when you're 18, when you're 25, when you're 30, maybe on your wedding day, I'm going to give this to you, and you'll have an accurate record of how much you grew from year to year. So, because if it's just on a wall in some house, you can't take it with you, right?
Right.
So you'll have that in the future. And you can say, look what my dad did for me. My dad loved me so much that he had a board with my measurements on it. What do you think about that?
Pretty cool.
So you're only 12 right now.
If I still do fit by the time I'm almost as tall as the board,
Uh-huh.
which I
Well-
hope eventually I could be almost as tall as it.
I think it's 7 feet. You want to be 7 feet tall?
Maybe not 7 feet. Maybe like 6.8 or something.
6'3" is probably as good as you want to get. But yeah. So anyway, so you have this, and you might not appreciate the idea behind it right now, but when you're older and you have kids of your own, you're definitely going to appreciate it. Same thing, you know about the book that I'm writing for you. Do you remember this book?
I don't think you ever told me.
I never told you about the book.
I don't think so.
Well, I've got a book, and every once in a while, when something significant happens in your life, I'll write whatever it is down. So I haven't written in it for a while, so I have to update it. But your first steps, I think the first words that you had.
What it was?
What it was? What your first
Yeah.
word? I can't remember. I haven't looked or read the book in a while. But it's got all kinds of significant things in it, and after every entry, I'll write down what the gas price is, or what a cup of coffee at Tim Hortons costs, so that when you look back in 20 years or whatever it is, and it's $3.75 for a large cup of coffee, you'll know that in the mid-2010s, it was somewhere around $1.70 something. Okay, so you'll have a history, because I remember my mom telling me stories about, oh, when I was your age, I used to go to the corner store, and for 25 cents, I would get a pop, a chips, and a chocolate bar.
A chips.
A bag of chips, and a pop, and a chocolate bar, or something, whatever it was. Yeah. But you could get all that for
like a quarter.
For like a quarter, and that was back in the 70s. Now, if you were going to go to the corner store and buy a bag of chips, a pop,
bar and a pop,
and a chocolate bar and a pop, how much would that cost? Chips are what? $2? Pop's $2, and a chocolate bar is $1.50 or something.
Pop is like a dollar or two.
All right, so it would cost you about $5 or more.
Yeah, ish.
And it would have cost my mom 40 years ago 25 cents.
Like not even a quarter of that.
Exactly. So that's how prices change over time. So in this book that I'm writing for you, which has all kinds of different things in it, like this is where we lived at this time, this is who was the prime minister of the country, this person died this week and they were famous because, so you'll have all this history that when I give this book to you sometime when you're older, you'll be able to look back on it. It's going to have all kinds of advice in it for you, and you can be like, you know what, my dad was a smart man, he sure did love me.
You are a smart man.
Yeah, you think so?
You're a smart dad.
Yeah? You feel loved? Are you a happy kid?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, that's good. And so besides being a chef and having the favorite number 6, what else do you want to tell yourself? Do you have any funny jokes that you can think of that aren't puns? Any advice to your future self?
Nothing really I can think of.
No? Are you looking forward to Christmas coming up?
Yeah.
Yeah? What's your favorite TV show right now?
Don't know. Got a few.
Okay, well tell me a few. It doesn't have to be your absolute favorite. Are you still loving SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
I forgot what the other one was called. I forgot what it was called. But there's a blue cat. 2 blue cats, actually. 2 pink bunnies. And a fish that grew legs.
Oh, I don't know this show.
I can't remember what it was called, but I've got it on recordings.
Oh, okay. All right. And you have a favorite singer or a couple singers or bands? Music? Favorite song?
Still like Lights.
You like Lights? Good. Okay. Who else do you like? You still you're still in love with Ariana Grande? Or not so much?
I still like her songs, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. And you're in grade 7. Do you have a crush on anybody in your class?
No.
Not this year, right?
Not this year.
But you had a few last year?
A few.
And they all moved away. Every time you had a crush on somebody, they moved away?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this year you're just laying low and not worrying about it, right? Okay. All right. So what else can you tell me? What else do you want to tell the audience about who Bishop is as a person?
Well, I can be kind of clumsy sometimes.
Okay. A little bit clumsy. I think you get that from your mom. What else? What's your favorite season?
Season?
Spring?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah? How about summer?
Not really.
Okay.
Because spring is like a better than all the rest, but it's got a few reasons for itself, but the rest is kind of just process of elimination, really.
Okay.
Because winter, especially here in Dimmins,
Where it snows all the time.
yeah, if there's no snow in the winter, there's something wrong.
Okay. And to wrap it up, do you have a favorite food? Or a favorite meal? Or favorite dessert? Or just something you like a lot? It doesn't have to be your favorite. You're very fidgety.
I am.
Are you having a hard time thinking?
Yeah.
All right. So that's about it?
That's about it, yeah.
All right. So no favorite foods, no favorite desserts?
I like ice cream.
Yeah? You have a favorite flavor? Chocolate?
All flavors.
Of course. You're a man of wide interests, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking forward to growing up?
A little.
Or are you enjoying being a kid?
Kind of both.
Yeah? All right. Well, thanks for having this little chat with me.
Thanks for coming.
And happy birthday.
Thanks.
And we'll talk again soon. All right. Hope you enjoyed that, everybody. It was a lot of fun recording with him. He's an interesting character. It's not always easy to get him to talk about things. I'm actually surprised that he agreed to sit down and be interviewed. But it was great that he did. Had a lot of fun, and I think that he did too. After recording, I asked him if he'd like to be a permanent co-host on the SoulForge podcast, and he's like, I don't think so, Dad. And that's understandable. He hasn't had a lot of life lived yet. He's still young. He's got lots to go. And we're definitely in different stages of our life. So maybe one day he'll want to do this if I'm still doing this 10, 15, 20 years from now. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. But looking forward to finding out.
If you're loving this podcast, you should tell a friend about it.
Spread the word about podcasts you think they would enjoy. There's something for everyone, from entertainment and lifestyle
To news and politics
and more. Share it on social media.
Believe it or not, some people don't know how great podcasts are.
or even how to find and listen to them.
You can help change that with a click. Tell your friends about your favorite podcast.
Thanks for spreading the word.
This has been episode 26 of the SoulForge podcast. Thank you for stopping by. If you'd like to support the show, the best way to do that is actually just to leave a review in the iTunes store or the podcatcher of your choice. That helps us get found by other like-minded listeners, and we can have a lot more fun, build up the community, and go from there. So until next time, stay safe, be careful, and remember, new beginnings are often disguised as painful endings.
This has been another episode of the SoulForge podcast with Sean Vanderloo. If you'd like to contact the show, email us at soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. We are SoulForge Pod on Twitter. You can follow Sean on Twitter and Instagram at Darth Vaderloo. Please rate and review us in Apple Podcasts or the podcatcher of your choice. To support the show for as little as $1 a month, visit patreon.com/Darth Vaderloo. Thanks for visiting the Forge. We will see you for the next episode.
This has been a Valley of Vanderloo podcast production, all rights reserved.
This transmission ends now.